Welcome to the scorching arena of valor and the crucible of courage. This is the Forged in the Fires podcast with Fireman Rob. Here, in the inferno of life's greatest challenges, heroes are shaped and legends are born. Every episode is a torchlight of wisdom, casting a glow on the paths walked by those who've braved the flames and emerged stronger. In this furnace of fortitude, we'll explore tales of resilience, bravery, and the unyielding human spirit. Each guest brings their own spark of insight, lighting up the darkness and guiding us through the smoke of adversity. With Fireman Rob at the helm, prepared to delve into conversations that smolder with significance and stories that kindle the soul. It's not just a podcast, it's a beacon for all who seek to rise from the ashes and glow with purpose. So stoke the fires of your curiosity and ready your heart for tales of triumph and transformation. The flames are roaring. The stage is ablaze. Welcome to the Forged in the Fires podcast. Let the journey begin.
All right, welcome back to Forged in the Fires podcast. I'm your host, Fireman Rob. Today I have another fireman who is a great chef. I'd have to say I'm not that fireman. I'm not a great chef, but he's an FDNY veteran firefighter, a graduate award-winning chef. He's also a fitness trainer. He worked Ground Zero. He has numerous books out. One of them, the Healthy Firehouse Cookbook. It's unbelievable. I'm so honored to have you on the show today, Joseph Bonanno. Thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, thanks, Fireman Rob.
Yeah,
glad to be here and address the firefighting audience.
Oh, it's great. I was looking at all the things that you've been on. Martha Stewart, you've been on Live with Regis and Kelly. I mean, I feel honored that you'd even come on this show.
Nah, that's that was my 15 minutes of fame back in the day, and I was humbled by the whole thing. It was a little bit of luck involved in getting the cookbook published, and very lucky actually. There's many great firehouse chefs across the country, and I happened to be in New York. I happened to take a course at the new school. I mentioned it in class.
Yeah,
it's actually a funny story if you want me to expand.
Oh yeah, definitely expand on that.
Oh, great. How it even happened for me. Listen, I was just a regular everyday firehouse cook, and I didn't cook often. I mean, once in a while I would cook. And in 1984 there was a firefighter named John Sonino, and he published the Firefighter's Cookbook. Now they only did a paperback, and it was only going to be 5,000 copies.
Okay.
Because he expected it to be a little local firehouse book, and I'll put some recipes that I made in the firehouse together. Well, as luck would have it for him, Phil Donahue at the time was moving from Chicago to New York.
Oh, no.
And he asked his crew, he says, well, how can I warm up my new location now from Chicago to New York? How do I warm up to the New York audience? So one of his producers said, listen, everyone in New York loves their firemen.
Yeah.
And we all see him at the supermarkets cooking. And this guy just wrote a fireman's cookbook. Why don't we do a little cooking segment on his show? So John went on the show with Phil Donahue. He actually wound up burning the chicken on the show. There was actually, I guess he was so nervous about being on TV, he forgot that the chicken was burning in the oil. I think he was making like chicken cutlet. And, it made for a fun segment. Everybody was laughing and kidding around. Well, anyway, after that, his book went on to be on the New York Times bestseller list for 9 weeks in a row.
No kidding.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And in that era, they didn't have what they call going viral, but that's the version of going viral.
Right.
So his book went crazy, but it was on the New York Times bestseller list 9 weeks in a row, which is unheard of.
And he burned the chicken.
And burned the chicken, which made for a fun segment. Phil
That's
actually said, John, why you were talking to me? The chicken's burning. He goes, maybe we ought to bring some hoses in. The whole fireman kind of funny thing. But the audience loved it, and he was a great guy. Everybody loved him. He was a really wonderful guy too, and I met him. Anyway, fast forward the story. What was the year? 19, probably 87, 88, 89. I was cooking in the firehouse. I wanted to I said, let me, he wrote a book. I just got certified as a fitness trainer and a nutritionist.
Okay.
I says, let me go take a course in Manhattan on, they actually had a course, how to write a cookbook and get it published.
Are you serious? I had a course on that?
Yeah, it was the first time they ever offered the course too.
Wow.
Yeah, it was one of those learning annex types things. So
Yeah.
I said, on a lark, I said, hey, listen, I'm in between shifts. I didn't want to drive all the way back out to Long Island where I lived. I was in Manhattan anyway. So I said, you know what? I'll kill time between shifts. Maybe there'll be some nice looking girls in the class.
The ulterior motives.
The always ulterior motive. And so I took the course really basically without one recipe with me or even ready to write a book. I said, I'll get the information. I'll take it home. The teacher went around the room. Everybody say their idea for a cookbook. I'm like, oh my God, I don't even have an idea. And plus I was in heady company. I'm in New York. So everybody was trying to get noticed. So they're like,
Right.
I'm a chef in France and Sweden and Switzerland. I went to the Culinary Institute in Hyde Park. And I'm like, wow, look at the company I'm in. I'm just like a local fireman cook. So he gets to me and he says, and I says, Joe, quick, think. So I said, well, listen, there was a book in 84 that was on a bestseller list, Healthy Firehouse Cookbook. I mean, it was Firehouse Cookbook. But
Yeah.
John Sonino, the author, actually wound up getting a triple bypass. And,
Oh,
if you're a
geez.
firefighter, a lot of them don't eat great,
Right.
and the physical nature of our job demands that you be in good physical condition, but that doesn't mean everybody is.
Right. Exactly.
So, and I was working with those type of guys. They were making mashed potatoes with 4 sticks of butter in it.
Yep.
For 8 people. And I'm like, have you heard about the ongoing?
That sounds really good right now, Joe.
But yeah, I know it does.
Yeah.
But the mentality. If you're
completely.
a fighter, completely know the mentality. And they're like, oh, what are we gonna eat? Salad every night? That type of thing. So
Right.
I said to the teacher, I says, if I was gonna do a cookbook, because there was a successful one already, I'd probably do a healthy version of a fireman's cookbook. I mean, he lit up. He said, wow, what a great idea. Mention it this afternoon. We have an editor coming in from Purse Publishing.
Oh,
And I'm like,
geez.
oh my God, I don't even have a recipe ready. These people are all here. There was like 75 people in the class. These people are here purposely to write a book.
Right.
With stacks of 500 recipes. And I'm like, oh my God. So the editor from Hearst Publishing, Harriet Bell, comes in. She does her little seminar, and she was like a Nazi. She was like, listen,
Yeah.
if you don't have everything in row ready and 100% ready to write your book, don't even bother writing a proposal. And we get we get hundreds of submissions, and we only take 1 or 2. And I'm like, wow, now forget it.
Yeah.
So class is ending. The teacher says, thank you everybody for coming. Oh, she says, we'll open the floor for 5 minutes. And anybody has an idea, shoot it out there and I'll just see what we got. It's sort of like a Shark Tank type thing.
Oh,
so
yeah.
everybody's hand went up but mine. And they the same thing. They were name dropping. They were like, oh, hi, I went to the Culinary Institute in Hyde Park. I trained in France at Le Cordon Bleu. And I'm like, wow. And she says, well, we have a dozen French books out last year, a dozen the year before. French cooking it's great, but it's not really right now what we're focusing on next. And just shooting people down left and right. I know the class is ready to end. The teacher goes, listen, everybody, thank you for coming. It's the first time we offered the class. Don't be shy if you have a really good idea. Well, like our fireman, for instance.
Pointing you
like,
out.
Oh my God. So I go, Joe, would you say your idea? So I think shyly said it. I said, listen, I'm a New York City fireman for 13 years. I said, I just got certified as a fitness trainer. There was a successful book out years ago. But if I was going to do a fireman's cookbook, it would be a healthy cookbook. And she said, would you stay after class? I want to talk to you.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, everybody in the class was ready to kill me. Because they went to get notice and
you went to see if there was good looking girls in the cuisine class.
Right, exactly. Right. And maybe entertain the idea of a book.
Right.
So again, I wasn't completely ready. I hadn't any culinary training at that point, just firehouse training. And listen, I worked in at that time I was working in Ladder 129 in Flushing, and we had some really great older guys that were, out of this world cooks. And I'm sure you've experienced that.
Oh
too.
yeah, by far.
I mean, there are some guys that are just like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. and I've seen that all across the country. So anyway, she Monday, and it's so funny because she said, "Do you have an agent?" And I go, "I don't have an agent. I'm a fireman."
I'm a fireman. I barely got pants on.
Exactly. Well, I should use the term firefighter to be politically correct.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Firemen, it's kind of old school, but yeah. So I said, "No, I don't." She said, "Well, contact an agent. Will contact you Monday, and she'll talk to you." And then she was very strict too, and she was like, "Listen, get me 10 recipes, write up a proposal, and I'll submit it." But she says the editor already likes it. You're already past the
Wow.
gate. So I sent the proposal, and this was 95 or 6. Yep. Submitted the proposals. They loved it.
Yeah.
And then I put an ad in Firehouse magazine
Oh,
asking.
really?
They didn't want to make it a New York fireman's cookbook like the other one. They wanted it to have national appeal. So I put an ad in Firehouse magazine and
Mhm.
said, I'll give you a free copy of the book and your name will be mentioned and where you work and everything. And I got like 140 recipes.
Really? Oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yep. So I cultivated ones to try to make it all across the, national appeal all across the country, California, Texas, whatever. And about, I don't know, 40 or 50 of mine,
Yep.
stuff that I had made regularly, stuff I experimented with at home, and then submitted it. They liked it. And then it was off to the races. I mean, basically, you do that. And now which I was completely unprepared for. I'm not an actor or anything or a TV star, so I was unprepared for what
What
comes
was
with it.
coming?
Well, yeah, what it was like, all right, we have you booked here, and we have you booked on Regis and Good Morning America and the Today Show, and this and that, and on, and and yeah,
Mhm.
and yeah, and you're like, I was still working at the time. I'm like trying to schedule it in between my shifts and stuff, and
Yeah. How much ice
yeah.
cream did you have to buy?
Oh, for the firefighters, you mean?
Yeah, because you were on TV, or was it beers at that time?
Well, it became actually fun for them because when would we ever be exposed to that kind of celebrityism?
Right. Oh, by
So,
far.
yeah, so I would invite. I'd say, listen, any of you guys want to go to the Regis Philbin show in Manhattan?
Oh,
Come
that's
on in,
awesome.
and they would come in. They'd all be in the audience, and I'd have to tell them to tone down the fireman stuff,
Yeah. A
and you know
little
what I
bit.
mean.
Oh yeah,
And
by
anybody
far.
and anybody that's listening knows what I mean.
Yeah, exactly.
Clean it up a little, fellas, and just
Yeah.
try to,
Pretend
you
like you're
know,
human today.
yeah. We're not in the, firehouse where you can, or no holes barred and say whatever you want to say. I know it's funny and it'll make some laughs when you get back, but we'll get banned off television for the rest of our lives if you do something really stupid,
Oh
which
yeah. Oh yeah.
they have the tendency to do. So anyway, fast forward, that book did really well. I did a 13 city national tour.
Oh wow.
Uh, yeah, it was unbelievable. And yeah, I donated a portion of the money to the Burn Center. And Philadelphia also did something for Philadelphia Burn Center. Um, then they liked the book. The book did so well that they offered me another one, which would be a grilling cookbook, Firehouse Grilling Cookbook, which I did in the like 1998, 99. And then 9/11 happened.
Yeah.
And that's a whole nother story. And maybe someday we can do a whole nother show about that. I'd love to talk to you about that. And
Well,
your
it was
experiences.
interesting because like when I was reading on you can go to americanfirehousecuisine.com
Right.
and
And read the story.
you have so many great things there. I want to touch on it a little bit because that day I've got goosebumps just from remembering what I read about it. I would love to be
Well,
able to go into that morning because I think it's so powerful what from what you've made, from that firehouse, the cookbook to, your job, your dad was on the job, your brother, and you had this great opportunity. And then can you kind of run through that whole day with us?
Well,
Because
that would be a whole show, but I'll do it as
you get,
succinctly as I can. But
yeah,
basically, because of all the cookbook publicity, I was actually starting to judge some cooking contests
yeah,
and do like appearances for food companies and stuff. So it was actually leading to a whole nother little career by itself. I wasn't quite an A-list celebrity chef, maybe WXYZ down in that category. I wasn't up there with the Bobby Flays and the Rachel Ray, but there was still a call for somebody that was on TV. I was also a New York City fireman.
Oh,
You
by
know, it
far.
all kind of fit together, you know. So they were calling me for different events. So anyway, I got a call in August of 2001 from Ronzoni Pasta in New York. And they said, listen, the Marathon Pasta Party, we sponsor that.
Yeah.
But we'd like to do a fireman cooking contest, and you judge it, and you get to promote it on TV for us. And I said, sure, no problem. I have no problem judging the contest, you know, and doing some publicity for you people. And it's, you know, all for charity and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So this is August of 2001. Mid-August, I get a call, say, all right, it's all set. You're going to be at the pasta party in October, you know, announcing the winners of the contest, but you have some publicity to do. And we got one real big one set up for and just to dramatize the story. It's set up for September 8th, 2001.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And we're going to be doing it at Ladder 152, which is where I was working at the time, my last assignment. And they said, okay, are you available the 8th? And I said, yep. Okay, somebody will pick you up 5:30 in the morning, and we'll do the segment from your firehouse. Okay, it's all set. About a week before, I get a call. Hey, Joe, it's you know, it's the Ronzoni, it's the publicity company from Ronzoni. Listen, the TV station, which is going to be doing it live, doesn't really pick up a really good signal out in Queens. Plus, the camera crew and everybody has to go all the way from Manhattan, all the way out to Queens. Would you mind doing it in Manhattan? And my brother worked in Manhattan. I've worked in Manhattan myself. I know so many guys that firefighters that I work with in Manhattan.
Right.
So I said, yeah, no problem. And they said, all right, we're going to do it at Ladder 3 on 13th and Broadway. Jeez. I said, okay, no problem. All right. And I actually knew 3 people that worked there. My brother worked right down the road.
Right.
And I said, no problem. They said, the only thing is we can't do it on the 8th. Are you available the 11th of September? You know, beforehand, you get a chill because beforehand I didn't know anything about what was going to transpire that day.
3 days.
So I said, yeah, I'm available on the 11th. Okay. It's set for the 11th at Ladder 3 on Broadway. And 13th and Broadway in Manhattan. And they all know about it. Okay. No problem. I wasn't, they said, we don't want you to drive in because you might get caught in traffic. You might have a car issue. We're going to send a car service for you.
Right.
To pick you up and drop you off. So car service picks me up, takes me into Manhattan. I know 2 or 3 of the firefighters there. You know, we start talking a little bit. Yeah, my brother works right down the road. Yeah, I worked with Michael, blah, blah, blah. You know, all the firemen talk. And then the host arrives. And he was a great guy, too. He was really terrific. And what they were doing is we were all going to cook whatever one of the recipes from the contest he was going to make his recipe, and then we were going to walk it out in the street and feed it to people and see if the host's recipe is better than mine and blah blah blah, you know, a little type of host type of stuff that they wanted. But the show was in Manhattan, and what they would do is they go, we're going to cut live to Larry and Joe Bonanno out in Ladder 3, and they would do like 3 to 5 minutes. And then they would go back to the show, which was news, weather, blah, blah, blah. And then we're going to catch up with Joe at like 8 o'clock.
Right.
So it was like 3 segments. One was 6:35, one was 7:15, and the other one was like 8:10. I mean, we're so close to when the first plane hit.
Right. So close.
And then none of us knowing, I mean, of course, nobody knew.
Right.
We're just having fun, and I think it's just going to be another day in New York.
Yeah, beautiful day.
You know, of nothing. Yeah, beautiful day, and nothing smelled of anything that was going to go awry.
Right.
And then they do the last segment, and then the host says, "All right, we're going to take off." And then the girl was from Ronzoni was there, and she says to me, "Joe, listen. The car service is in the Bronx. They can't get here until like at least 45 minutes. And the other firemen were like, hey, Joe, great. Come in the kitchen. We'll eat the food. We'll hang out, blah, 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 you know.
Right.
You know, just a normal, just never in your nobody's wildest dreams in the whole planet of Earth could have thought an hour later what was going to transpire. Yeah, so I'm like, all right, great, no problem. I don't have a problem with that. So I had gear on. I took my gear off because we were trying to do the segment in gear for fun.
Yep.
And I started walking back in the kitchen, and like it was yesterday, her phone rings, and she said, "Joe, I got good news. The same car service company has a guy right around the block. He can pick you up right now if you want." It's probably 8:45, 41. The plane hit at 8:46.
Yeah.
So the other firemen were like, "Oh, look at the weather. You're gonna be stuck in traffic for an hour. It's 8:45. What are you kidding me? You're gonna be caught in traffic for an hour. It's a beautiful day. So hang out with us." And and I'm like, yeah, you know what? I don't want to put the car service people out. They have a guy right here. I don't want to wait another hour, you know. And they actually were physically pulling me into the kitchen. Come on, stay in the, come on.
Not shocking.
Yeah, like hang out, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to just take off. Two other firefighters had stopped by. They were on light duty. They were in like a little suburban Chiefs car. They were on light duty. They stopped by because this TV thing was happening. They heard about it. And those two guys wound up leaving. I thought they got killed, but they wound up, thankfully, they wound up leaving. Right. As I left, they left.
Wow.
And as I pulled away, I'm telling you, I didn't see it, but the plane must have been flying right overhead.
Oh, geez.
As I pulled out. I didn't see it. I didn't hear it. We made the right onto 6th Avenue to go uptown. Now I hear fire trucks everywhere. I look in the rearview mirror, and Ladder 3 is pulling out of quarters. They were going to the World Trade Center.
Oh, geez.
Unbeknownst to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I hear sirens going like crazy, and I'm like, what the heck is going on? Like, I didn't think New York is always sirens.
Right.
But this to me seemed like an inordinate amount of sirens. I'm like, something. What? I said to the car guy, I said, put the radio on for a second. And he puts the radio on, and it was just happening. He said, we interrupt this program. Apparently a small plane might have been disoriented and hit one of the World Trade Center towers. And I'm like, oh, why? That's why there's so many sirens going. So in between driving, I could see between the buildings, and I look back and I see smoke. I mean, like the amount of smoke. And you saw the videos.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm like, small plane.
That's not a small plane. Yeah.
And not only that, I was like, the weather was absolutely crystal clear. There was no way I was lost in fog or anything like that. It just didn't fit, And right. I'm like, but I still didn't think the enormity of what happened. So anyway, we get to the Queens Midtown Tunnel. We lose radio transmission. And we get out of the tunnel, and I pull out of the tunnel, and I look back at the World Trade Center now, and I see the column of smoke coming. I'm like, wow. And then I see the second plane hit.
Oh, geez.
And I'm like, said to the guy, stop the car, turn around. And he goes, I said, stop the car, turn around, go back. So he stopped the car, he turned around, and they said the tunnel is closed. And I'm showing my badge. I go, listen, I'm a firefighter. Let me, they wouldn't let me. I said, all right, fine. Then get me back home.
Right.
And the really strange part for me is that I hadn't done anything on TV for about 6 to 7 months, maybe. And it's at home. My brother was home. He happened to be visiting New York at the time. He was out with a back disability.
Okay. And
he lived in Cleveland. He happened to be visiting New York, and pray to God I asked him, I go, do you want to come in and do the TV segment with me?
Oh, geez.
He says, oh, I don't feel like getting up at 4:30 in the morning, and I'll just watch it on TV. So I said, oh yeah, tune in. It's going to be live. And another one of my close friends happened to be visiting from Florida. And I can remember like it was yesterday. He asked, Joe, when are you going to be on TV again? You haven't been on TV. I said, I'm going to be on tomorrow morning. Tune in. So they're all watching it, and they're seeing me live. It's not taped.
Right.
And as soon as the segment ends, they go, all right, the segment's over. We have to interrupt this program. Apparently, we're switching to live at the World Trade Center. Planes have hit the World Trade Center. So I was incommunicado for about an hour until I got home.
Jeez.
So you can imagine my family, my brother saying, oh, my God.
Yeah, where is he?
Where is he? And then finally I get home, and I remember I hit my answering machine, and it's like, Joe, call us immediately if you get home. It was really like, so I called everybody and let them know I was back. But when I walked in my door at my house, the first tower was collapsing. And I was watching, and I go, I'm watching thousands of people get killed right now.
Yeah.
I can't believe this. And I go, I don't even know what the number is going to be, but there's hundreds of firemen right this minute when you watch that on TV. And we all did. And I'm sure you did. And then the second comes down, I'm like, there's thousands right now. I'm witnessing thousands of people ending their lives. This is unbelievable. So my brother, I grabbed my brother, I went to my sister's house, and I said to them, listen, I said to him, I said, and he was injured. I said, Michael, I can't watch this on TV.
Yeah.
I got to grab some gear and go in. And he goes, do you have any extra gear? I go, yep. I go, then let's go. And we got on a train. My sister dropped us off at the train station. We got on a train, and we took the train in.
Jeez.
And, a story from that train trip. And I don't want to,
No, I want to hear the story from the train trip, because I remember reading this. This is
well, I don't want to have airtime for yourself too.
No, this is all about you, Joe. No, this isn't about me.
Yeah. So we're on the train, and this girl in tears, comes up to me and my brother Michael, and she says, listen, you guys are New York firemen? I said, yeah. And she says, are you going into the world? I said, yes. And she says, would you do me a favor? This is a picture of my husband.
Oh, gosh.
And he works for Cantor Fitzgerald. And if you know anything about the story of Cantor Fitzgerald's on the 110th floor. Nobody made it.
Right.
We didn't know that at the time. But she said, listen, take this picture and take my telephone number. If you find him, if you see him, if you hear anybody that knows about him, please give me a call and let me know. And I said, I will. And I put the thing in my pocket. I said, I'll be the first one to ask anybody that went down there. And then when we went down there, like I got out of the Queens Midtown Tunnel.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, we had our gear on with us. So, and people were pouring in from all over the place.
Yeah.
I mean, police, state, and next thing I know, a state trooper, New York State trooper must have come from Westchester County. He was in a Humvee. He pulled over, fellas, you need a ride? Yeah. We jumped in with him. He drove us as close as we could get.
Wow.
Which wasn't that close because of everything that was going on. And we get out of the Humvee, and now we have to walk because you couldn't get that close. And we're walking. This is the next day. And we're walking. And I tell you what, when I turned the corner,
yeah,
I broke down in my brother's arms.
Yeah.
I broke down in my brother's arms because I just said, not only the tragedy part of it, the loss part of it. In my mind, I said to myself, somebody did this.
Yeah.
On a normal day, a normal work day for everybody. Somebody did this as some type of a religious or political statement.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? This massive loss of life, massive loss of the waves. They say 6 degrees of separation. I already knew. That's why I broke down, because I said the wave of grief from this.
Yeah.
It's incalculable.
Yeah. And it still goes today.
And it's still going on today. But, 10 people get killed. Yeah, it's a big day in the families. You're talking about that many people, firemen, policemen. The wave, I said the wave that's going to come from this. And even me personally.
Yeah.
As you start to hear, hey, did you see one of my friends, Tom Gambino?
Yeah.
No, he's on the missing list. How about this? How about Pat? Patty Boyle. But no, he's on the missing list. How about this? No, he's on the missing list. And as I got closer and closer, I said, missing. This isn't missing. This is gone. They're not missing. They're gone. And it's just a matter of finding out. And then as the day, and as we went down there, I remember my brother saying to me, we were walking by. It was almost, I hate to use that word surreal because everybody uses that
but it
word.
was. Yeah.
It's otherworldly to me. Like, in other words, you see this on episodes of Combat, D-Day. You see this in movies where, like, a blown up store and there's a candle in it, and it's 3 veterans, just having a cigarette or having a drink and calm down. Here's a blown out building in New York City.
Yeah.
With 5 firemen taking a break, all covered and dust, and it was like a movie, like a something said, and
These
we even
movies say,
said it. If somebody wrote a movie and
yeah,
submitted the script to me and my brother said this. If somebody submitted that script to a movie before it happened, they'd say, no,
it's too
it's too big
outlandish.
to even, too
Yeah,
outlandish, too big to even believe. It's too much to comprehend.
right.
Tone it down. And all of that did happen. All of it. It couldn't have been any, on a grander scale than that. I mean, our chaplain got killed by falling debris.
Yeah,
The
I
fire
saw that.
department chaplain,
Yeah,
yeah, got killed by falling debris, and you saw the guys carrying him. I mean, it couldn't have been any more morose than and morbid of a story than, and people jumping and all of it, just everything about it.
yeah,
So anyway, so because of that event, now you get, I didn't expect yeah, I mean, yeah, they were paying homage to New York City firemen, and it led to like a whole nother level of I guess you want to call it celebrityism for me too. And I made it crystal clear to everybody. Listen, I'm not a fireman that this happened and now I'm starting to write about this. All this happened to me before.
right, right.
9/11, I was there. Nobody could say to me like, "Oh yeah, no, I was there for it all." I'm not taking any money you want to make off of it. Take the money. I don't care. I'll do anything you want to promote, whatever you want me to promote.
Right.
But I just want to make it crystal clear that nobody says, "Oh, look, a thing happened and everybody loves New York fireman. Now here he is."
No,
So,
no, and it's very clear to me, like you raised money for ladder 3 for FDNY burn centers,
oh, I was doing it. I was doing it before, and I
and you
continue to do it
continue
to
to
this
do
day.
it. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And no, I yeah, it's hard hearing those stories, but I can't thank you enough for just opening up and telling that and making sure, I want people to go to americanfirehousecuisine.com. You can read the story on there. You can also get the book so you can actually cook some good food. I need to get that book because I'm a terrible cook.
Well, I
I'm a
well,
box cook.
oh, well, I actually just recently did another one, and I
Did
did
you?
it for I did it for the 20-year anniversary. It's called American Firehouse Cuisine,
Oh, nice.
and I
That's
did it for
fun.
the 20th anniversary. And one of the reasons I did it is after I retired after 9/11, after I retired,
Hmm.
I got so sick of like I would do starting to do a lot of cooking demos and stuff at food shows that weren't fireman related,
Yeah.
and a lot of the ego chefs was starting to get like a little jealous, like,
Yeah.
hey, you don't need to know how to cook. All you need is a uniform and big biceps, and you can get a good book published. And I heard a chef say that, and I was a little miffed at it.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? He's right, though. I go, let me go get. So I went to culinary school. I got my degree
That's
and did
awesome.
internships. So now I had the chops to be on the same level as them, and it wasn't just a uniform and whatever getting me over.
Well, now they had nothing on you. You had the big biceps, the uniform, and the
Well,
degree, and they
not
had
as
the
big as
scrawny arms and no
they.
uniform.
Right. So anyway, I just did it and it also helped to professionalize cooking and writing recipes. And,
Right.
it was a terrific experience, so yeah, because of that, I did. And for the 20-year anniversary, I wanted to do a dedication book to, um, because the other books were pre 9/11.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So I wanted to make this book to, honor those firefighters, honor my father,
Yeah,
who did 34 years in the South Bronx during the
that's
70s,
awesome.
which is what they call the war years.
Yep.
And I know we can probably do a whole nother show on it, and we will, and I don't want to really go that deeply into it here, but it is a first responder problem. My brother committed suicide in 2012,
Yeah.
the brother that I worked with. And I work with an organization now that's ffbha.org, which works to assist the families and also does prevention seminars for first responders and stuff like that. I mean, that's a whole nother show
That's
we can do
and
on
we will
stuff.
definitely do that. We'll definitely
But
do that.
but yeah, the cooking thing actually led to I mean, a lot of like, I call it Z-list celebrity appearances, which I was fine with. I was fine with because the celebrity chefs like Bobby Flay and stuff, they get on tremendous money to do like,
Yeah.
and Rob, you'll appreciate this because the first time I ever got paid to do a cooking thing,
Yeah.
I was like naive about it. Like a lot of the stuff I
Yeah.
did in the beginning was just to promote the book, and I thought that's what you do.
Yeah.
Part of promoting the book. I don't think there was an opportunity to promote. I was promoting the book.
Yeah.
I wasn't. I didn't think. But like, if a food company would call me and ask me to go on TV, and they say, bring Ronzoni pasta with you, and we'll give you, a
Yeah.
set amount of money. And I'm like, well, they didn't in the beginning. I was naive about it
Yeah. You're
because
like, I'll go. Yeah. It sounds good.
yeah, I'm going to get free food and then promote the book. Why not?
Yeah.
And then I'll never forget the first time I got paid, and you'll appreciate this coming from the fireman background. They asked me, the U.S. canola oil asked me to go on the radio
Yeah.
and do a equivalent to a podcast at the time and promote canola oil as a low fat, not low fat, but easier oil to cook with, lighter, doesn't smoke as much when you're cooking. So I go, yeah, okay, no problem. And then that was the first time they said, well, what's your fee? Well, fee?
Wait a second. I can call a fee.
Yeah. So in my firefighter brain, I was thinking to myself, well, if any of my firemen I work with, and I know how to do all the trades, they, Joe, you want to come and help me put a roof on?
Yeah.
I'll give you 100 for the day and lunch. So that's 8 hours of slinging shingles.
Right.
And I'm to get 100 off the books.
Yeah.
I'm good with that. Plus, I'm helping a fireman out. So I says, well, they want me to go on the radio for an hour to a few different markets. If I get 100 to put a roof on, what can I possibly charge him for an hour?
Oh, this has to be good.
So I said, I didn't know what. I said, you know what? Can I ask you if I said, listen, let me call up an agency and ask them.
Yeah.
So I called up an agency and I said, listen, if you guys want to negotiate it, fine. No, but we're really interested in taking you on as a client. And I said, oh, okay. But I said, well, we don't want any of the fee. So they said, what's involved? I said, an hour on the radio.
Yeah.
I said, okay. What would I charge for fee? I said, listen, here's my references, here's my background. And then they said, our lowest on the totem pole chef in our agency gets $1,500.
Yeah.
I was floored. I was like, wow, $1,500 for an hour.
Does that include lunch?
Yeah, it's an hour on the radio and I have to drive there. I mean,
Yeah.
and I was just shy when the woman called me back. I was almost like embarrassed to say, I had to say it this way. I said, listen, I spoke with an agency. They don't want a percentage of it. I'm fine with it. But they said the suggested fee should be $1,500. And she said, fine, we'll send you a contract. And I was like, wow.
You're like, oh, wow. I should ask for more.
Well, no, I was no, because listen, I'll put a roof on your house for $100.
Yeah, exactly.
$1,500 for now on the radio. I'm thrilled. I'm not going to ask for more.
I love that.
But that's the industry, and that's kind of how it works. And so I put it in the category of, it's like, listen, if and again, I didn't have any savvy about the financial part of it, and
right.
I'm pretty humble. I'm thrilled to listen, you want me to go on? I'm promoting my book. I'm going to get a free ride, car service ride, and a meal, and you're going to give me some compensation for it, a few boxes of pasta. I'm thrilled, So
you're like, this is a great day.
Yeah, this is better than putting roofs on in the heat or the cold.
Getting a cold sandwich.
Yeah, it took me out of the category of that, and I had no awareness that industry and type of thing even existed. So I don't know.
I love it.
Right. So anyway, I did another book. I had a bunch of appearances. COVID's kind of shut down any in-person appearances.
Yeah.
For like a couple of years. So that kind of squashed that. So now that's why I built this studio. And
it's an awesome studio.
Yeah, it's so fireman. It's crazy.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, it's so fireman looking. It's just really, it has the coolest feel about it.
That's
So
so
I
cool.
just actually started doing that. I did the book in 2021, which was the 20-year anniversary, American Firehouse Cuisine.
Mhm.
And again, even then, it was still hard to get appearances on TV because COVID and all this other stuff. And that's kind of died down a little bit. And I really didn't do it for that. I did it to dedicate it to my brother, to the firefighters, to my father,
Yeah.
have my own recipes in it, individualize it a little bit. And now I had the culinary chops behind it.
Yep.
That's why on the cover I wore a chef's coat and not a fireman's jacket and stuff like that. So anyway, so I did the studio, built it myself, had
That's
all the
awesome.
props anyway. Don't ask me why I had a fire pole, but I did.
Well, we all know.
I wasn't a stripper. I wasn't a chip and
Part-time stripper and
part-time
full-time
chip and
chef.
dale. Yeah, I wasn't a part-time. And I took the pole with me when they closed the place. No, I don't know where I had it. Oh, we tried it in 2012 up in New York, but
Yeah.
the weekend we launched the show, Superstorm Sandy hit.
Oh, geez.
And the show was canceled, and then the studio, the local cable channel that was running it was doing stories on Superstorm Sandy, so it kind of just fell apart.
Right.
And I just said, it's over. Take my pole with me and my props, and I shipped them down to Florida, and they kind of sat here, and then I just got the bug again to
Do it.
because there was no in-person stuff going on, and I said, it's going to cost me out of my own pocket.
Right.
I can try to do it as inexpensively as possible because I know how to do all the work. And plus you have the ability now with YouTube.
Yep. To be able to push it out there.
Yeah, because prior to that, you had to get a network or TV interested in it.
Right.
And really, they don't want to touch it unless you have ratings already.
Right.
Because that's how they get advertisers. So now you can do it with subscribers and build it from the ground floor up. But there's also tons of competition. So I don't know where it's going to go. I'm just.
Well, you've made an impact, and you continue to make an impact, and I appreciate the stories and all you're doing for the Firehouse Cuisine, because I mean, you're right. There's a lot of need for a healthy Firehouse Cuisine to not have that, the extra poundage by the end of their career.
Right, and heart attack, and
a lot of things,
stuff like that, job performance, and I never tried to. I do it by attraction, not promotion. I just don't try to tell me you got to get in shape. No, I do it by attraction, not promotion, and help where I can. I've actually done health and fitness seminars for the fire service, and I don't just talk the talk. I walk the walk. I do it myself.
Right. That's huge.
Yeah, I competed in the Firefighter Combat Challenge, and I'm still doing it, and but yeah, that message, and now recently being a suicide survivor, I'm helping firefighters deal with that.
Love it. I love everything that you're doing, Joe. I appreciate it. Make sure you go to AmericanFirehouseCuisine.com. You can find out more. And Joe, we will definitely be having another discussion sometime soon.
Yes, I'd love to.
I appreciate it. I appreciate having you on today. And definitely thank you all for joining us. And we'll talk to you next time.
Thanks for listening and supporting the Forged in the Fires podcast with Fireman Rob. Remember, don't forget to like and subscribe to this podcast. And please share this episode with a friend or family member. To find out more about Fireman Rob, or if you have a question, go to www.firemanrob.com. Until next time, live your life forged in the fires.